object. And that's what tracking does. So here's how it works. We have these objects, which we've detected. And what we want to do is keep track. We want to make what are called tracklets. A tracklet is a temporal sequence, temporal meaning time, a temporal sequence of a single object. We don't know what it is, but we want it to be the same object. A temporal sequence of a single object, the positions of them as they cross frame boundaries. That means this object 24, we don't know what it is yet. We haven't done classification. We're just giving it the label 24. And the next frame, it should be 24, even if it moves. And so sure enough, this is, I'm calling it object 1. Object 1, which is really 24, we can see the whole trail of where it's been, and each dot is a frame. So this has been tracking, boy, like let's say 60 frames, that's 2 seconds. Now this object up here, which is going off the screen, is actually this sequence of tracklets. Object ID 3, 4, 5, and 6 is actually all this object. Why are they broken into tracklets? Well, because tracking is difficult, and we'll see. Things can happen. Let me tell you some trouble that can happen. Two objects can come together. That's called merging. If you look at the left here, you see 2 discrete objects. Our detector would say, yep, that's 2 objects. But in the next frame, if they came together, what's our detector going to say here? It's 1 object. Detectors don't know history. And our tracker is going to say, wow, here's a big object, I better track it. But you know, there were 2 objects in the past frame and now there's 1, so that can be confusing. Also, the complement to that is when 2 objects that are merged, they come apart. That's called splitting. If you're tracking this one and all of a sudden the next frame, there's 2 objects here, that's very confusing. And then the third I call blinking. Sometimes, remember we're doing threshold. If the gray level's down here and it's really close to the threshold, the next frame, maybe it's a little brighter, it'll now appear out of nowhere like magic. It'll appear in the middle of the frame, and then maybe the next frame it's dark again. It'll look like it's blinking. Well, to your tracker, your detector says, hey, here's a new object, and tracker says, oh, it wasn't in the last frame, it must be new. Okay, so those are the problems. Let me show you this code running, because it's always good to see that this is possible. And your homework will be to write this code. Okay, let me run. Okay, so let's move this here. So here's some objects. So here's 24. See, that was nice. But look at object 56. I'll replay that again and watch what happens to it. Okay, so you see 24 is nice, right? It's just kind of wiggling around and it's constantly being tracked. It's all the same color. The color represents the ID. That worked well. But let's look at that other object, which has some tracking problems. Okay, let me run it again. Okay, we'll watch. Let me move this here. We're going to watch, let's see. Where does he appear? Oh, he's changing IDs. Now he's ID 48. And keep on watching 48. Now he's 56, so he changes his color. And now he's still 56. Now he's 63. What's happening is he's merging and splitting with these other objects near him. Okay,